Hi, I'm Jana. Welcome to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you've been here before. Today I want to talk about how common family estrangement is. Is it a growing trend? Have you ever wondered why it happens? And do you think it affects more women than men? For example, I'm estranged from my entire family, so I know firsthand how confusing and painful this can be. And after many years, I have found a way forward, and I want you to know that you are not alone, and maybe I can help you find some peace too. So I thought I could have a cup of coffee here and sit down and chat with you about this. Did you know that about 1 in 4 adults report being estranged from at least one family member? I'm reading a statistic here. 2025 YouGov poll found that 38% of United States adults are currently estranged from at least one family member. That translates to roughly 65 million people in the United States experiencing estrangement. Are you shocked about that? I am really shocked about that. I mean, I knew it was a big number, but I had no idea it was that prevalent. But what are the reasons for it? It's really complex, and it's often a combination of different reasons. So I thought we would talk about what some of the main reasons of estrangement are. And one is abuse or toxic behavior, physical, emotional, verbal abuse can create permanent rifts. And even after abuse stops, if it stops, some family members might feel it's unsafe or unhealthy to maintain contact. And another main reason of estrangement is conflict over values or beliefs, like differences in religion, politics, lifestyle, or moral beliefs that can lead to ongoing tension. And when these differences clash repeatedly, one or both sides might step away. In my own personal case, both politics and lifestyle played a big part in my family estrangement. It wasn't the sole reason, but it did play a big part. I am lesbian, and did you know that over 30% of LGBTQ plus individuals experience estrangement from family members? That's just like a really huge number. Personality clashes and ongoing conflict is another reason for some estrangements, like chronic arguments, manipulation, favoritism, or one family member being unfairly blamed for family problems, which is called scapegoating, can erode family relationships over time. And some people distance themselves to preserve mental and emotional health. Have you ever heard of the golden child? In my family, I have 2 younger brothers, and they were both the golden children in the family. I talked about that in past videos if you've seen that, because in my case that's exactly what happened. A family narrative, a family scapegoating compounded by a difference in lifestyle and politics. Another reason would be when boundaries aren't respected, like repeatedly ignoring personal boundaries about privacy, parenting, finances or life choices can push someone to cut ties. And I just want to say this can happen on both sides. Like, I think we've all heard of the proverbial parents or mother and father-in-law who meddle in their adult children's lives and give them unsolicited advice. And I've never been one to do that. And I guess that's fine if it's an okay thing in your family. But if your adult children would specifically say, Mom, stay out of my financial business, or stay out of my relation with my husband, for example, and then the parent continued to do that, I would consider that crossing boundaries. It's not something I ever did in my family. I never offered advice, or if I did, it was real rare, unless I was asked for it. So, boundaries is a really important thing on either side, really. Then another reason would be life transitions or triggers, maybe a divorce in the family, remarriage, disputes over money like inheritances, and oftentimes the estrangement starts subtly and grows over time. Like, personally, I haven't heard of too many cases where it's just been totally sudden, out of the blue. There might have been little things here or there. Now, in my case, being estranged from my entire family, it was actually both. It was subtle with some family members and then sudden with some others. So it's overall, the whole thing is very complex, and it's all different. It's different from all of us. I think it's important to recognize what has caused it in your family, because I think that brings a sense of peace. If you're estranged from any of your family members, I would love to hear in the comments if you have recognized any of the reasons for it in your own personal situation. It is a fact that many of us parents genuinely do not know the reason they've been estranged from their adult children. And because oftentimes the adult children choose not to explain. And I can say from personal experience, it doesn't necessarily have to do with your adult children. It could be other family members as well. You don't always know. And I know one thing I've heard is like, well, or you should know. But no, you really don't know. You are left to speculate in many cases. I don't believe it's the result of one simple thing that happens, one simple conflict, like, okay, well, you showed up late for dinner at our house, so now I'm going to estrange from you. I don't believe it happens that way. I mean, it might be a very short-lived anger or estrangement, but I don't believe it's what contributes to the more long-term estrangement. I think reflecting on my own personal situation, it really helped give me peace when I was able to recognize what really has gone on in my family. And I stepped back and I took a look at the bigger picture and the family dynamic in my case. I felt a sense of peace. Is family estrangement a trend? Yes, family estrangement is definitely a trend. Some people these days are even calling it an epidemic. I've noticed a strange similarity in the language that estranged children use, and they toss out words like toxic, narcissistic, emotional abuse. They toss that out like candy. And these words that they're using are coming from adults from totally different backgrounds and cultures. I'm going to read you another statistic here from the Journal of Family Psychology in 2023. A study found a 300% increase in psychological terminology in family estrangement discussions since 2015. Again, that's just like wow factor. That's like crazy. 300% increase in the last 10 years. I would definitely say that points toward a trend. And then there was another study that was done in 2024 that I read about that found that people who engage with family estrangement content on social media are 47% more likely to consider cutting off their own family members. I found that super interesting. I also found in my research that the majority of online estrangement communities exhibit cult-like behaviors. Like seriously, like most of them are putting the blame on parents without any critical thinking. And people that get exposed to this are taking their minor grievances and they suddenly turn them into quote unquote abuse. And the result of this is really massive. For us estranged family members, it destroys our reputations, our support, our self-worth, and leaves us feeling alone. Now, I'm going to read you another statistic that I just found like, wow. A 2024 study from the Journal of Family Trauma found that 78% of estranged parents reported experiencing symptoms of complex trauma, with 43% meeting the diagnostic criteria for PTSD. That's just crazy. And to further complicate all this, did you know that 73% of recent therapist training materials frame parents as the problem? So none of that helps. In doing my research, I found so many interesting statistics that blew me away. I could literally do over an hour-long video just reading you the statistics that I found. And some of them vary, just a little, but overall the definite pattern is there. But I need to move along. But I just wanted to add that personally, outside of the social media influence, I think there's been an overall decline in family values over the years. So, who exactly does family estrangement affect? So here's another interesting statistic that I found. Siblings are the most common family member from whom adults are estranged, at 24%, according to a 2025 YouGov poll. Siblings, is that crazy? That's something I never even thought of when I started this research. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that I am estranged from both of my brothers, and I will link that video in the description and up here on the screen if you haven't seen that, the one about my brothers. But why is this? I mean, there's personality clashes, favoritism, like the golden child, conflicting values, dysfunctional family patterns, for example, scapegoating, like in my case. But what about looking beyond siblings? What about gender? Are females more likely to be estranged than males? Now, before I did my research, I thought the answer to that would be yes. And what about moms? Are they more likely to be estranged from dads? And again, I thought before researching that the answer to that would also be yes. But when I researched, I found a lot of conflicting studies about it. Some say it's females and moms, while others say it's males and dads. However, in every study, no matter which way it leaned, the word they used always was slightly. So I guess my consensus is that it's pretty equal, and it doesn't seem to make gender doesn't seem to make a difference in all of this. So then I got to thinking, well, what about different cultures? And it does appear that some cultures, like Asian and Latino, estrangement is less common than in the US. And that's because those cultures strongly value the family unit, whereas in the United States, personal well-being seems to be prioritized these days over family obligation. Now, I'm not saying in all cases, I'm talking generally. So yes, to wrap things up, family estrangement is common, much more common than I ever realized before I joined my own support groups. It's a myth that family estrangement occurs after a big fight, and actually in my next video, I'm going to be addressing estrangement myths, so you can look forward to that next week. But take a step back and look at the patterns in your own family. Write them down. If you don't journal and you like to journal, I found it really helpful to do that, just to get your feelings out. I've always done that for years and years. Before I decided to speak out loud, I have always had these thoughts run through my head all the time, but I've never been able to speak, and I'm still trying to get comfortable at that. I feel like once you understand the dynamics in your family, that's the first step in clarity and peace. Now, I know everybody's different, but that was so very helpful for me. So if this video helped you, please consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Respectful comments are welcome. Constructive criticism is welcome. We're building a community here. And yeah, I think that's about it for this video. Thank you again for taking the time to listen and just for being here. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.